Greetings, YouTube. I've heard from a lot of Second Amendment fundamentalists over the years that firearms make us safer. There was a time in my life, during the time that this channel existed, where I said out loud that an armed society is a polite society. But I didn't realize at the time that I was perpetuating a white nationalistic agenda by saying that. Didn't realize that I was helping to oppress minority groups. Didn't realize at the time I said that I was putting women's lives at danger from spouses, boyfriends, and husbands. Didn't realize how many people were ending their lives with firearms, even though I myself was suicidal and a firearm would have been my first option. In my ignorance, I said that out loud. And that's still not as bad as it was when I was in my youth, where I literally said, kill them all, let God sort them out. I had a very conservative worldview at one time. As I have aged, I've become progressively more progressive. So now I call myself an aggressive progressive. That I get out there and I make sure that my opinions are known. And I don't let bullshit stand in my presence if I can do something about it. And today, I want to talk about the fact that the whole concept that firearms make us safe is bullshit. Because if that were true, in a nation that has more firearms than people, the United States of America would be the safest nation on the planet. Amongst the industrialized nations, we would be the safest. And yet, the reality is that we are the least safe. Now, I know that there will be Second Amendment fundamentalists that will tell you that they defend our freedom. From who? Do you really think that you, with your 9mm and your big black AR-15 clone, are going to take on the U.S. military? No, you're not. You're going to fold like a deck of cards. Are you preparing for the race war because you're a white nationalist? Well, that could be true, but you're a bigot, so I don't actually care about your opinion. Do you think you're going to defend yourself for some home invasions? Now, there are cases in America where that has happened. We don't know how many. Just like we don't know how many cops kill people, civilians, because those kind of things aren't recorded well. But for every case of a person getting a chance to defend themselves with a firearm, there are hundreds, maybe thousands of them, where people's lives are lost needlessly in America. Tens of thousands of Americans die every year. Through suicide, through accident, and through intent. Because firearms are readily available. And I still don't want to completely ban firearms. I understand they hold a place in American culture. I understand they hold a place for hunting, for plinking, and for those that want to carry them for self-defense. I understand that. What I want to do is take military-grade firearms out of the hands of civilians. And I'm very specific when I discuss the bans that I endorse. I don't use the words assault weapons. It's a plastic term and almost utterly meaningless. I'm very specific. I say semi-automatic firearms. Pistols, rifles, and shotguns. All semi-automatic firearms. All accessories for semi-automatic firearms, all magazines, and all ammo types that might be used for them, gone. There isn't a lot of overlap between semi-automatic ammo and other types of firearms. Admittedly, there's some. There are some exotic revolvers out there. But by and large, there's not a lot of overlap. And in the instances where there are, then that ammo can stick around because it can be used in a revolver or a lever-action rifle. But that's still going to leave a lot of options for Americans when it comes to firearms. Muzzle loaders, lever action, bolt action, pump action. break, breach, your classic double-barreled shotgun kind of thing. There are rifles that do that as well. So absolutely, Americans would continue to be able to use firearms for hunting and for plinking for self-defense. They just wouldn't be able to have high-capacity firearms designed to help kill a whole lot of people all at once and be reloaded rapidly so that the killing can continue. And I think that's pretty damn reasonable. I also endorse things like background checks and closing the loopholes of private gun sales and gun sales at gun shows. Red flag laws, making sure that people with severe mental illness don't have access to firearms. These are all reasonable limitations. And before you start saying that it's a constitutional right, we have the First Amendment right of free speech. Yet there are already in existence reasonable limitations upon that. Can't yell fire in a theater. Can't plot sedition against the government. Can't harass. Can't commit a libel. There are limitations upon free speech, and we accept those because we understand that in the real world, you cannot have unlimited rights, no matter how much you may want to. And we need to have that same kind of a philosophy applied to firearms. So if anybody tells you that firearms make America safe, call them a liar. Because we're the least safe nation amongst the developed world. Those other nations don't have to worry about their kids going to school and being shot down, or being murdered in theaters, or at malls, or at concerts, or at clubs. There's a whole lot less worry among people that survive domestic violence of being shot, because firearms are much less accessible. We need reasonable expectations and limitations on firearms. I don't think that I'm asking much. I think it would save tens of thousands of lives. But the Second Amendment fundamentalists are going to fight tooth and nail because they desperately want to keep their big black rifles. And it's sad that they've decided that murdered children are less important than their AR-15 clone. And you may say that I'm appealing to emotions, and you'd be correct. The life of a child is more important than any type of rifle in America. Any child, even one, that life is more important than every single AR-15 clone in our country. And if you don't think that's true, you need to look in the mirror and severely reassess your worldview.